Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your full-time show. What a shower of show that was, but this is your part of the show where I'm going to hand it over to you. I want to hear you guys and girls what you think of your football club. I put a tweet out a second ago. Really, it's open mic. You know the drill by now, but is Paul Cook still the right man for you? Where do you start the rebuild, or do you tear it all down and say none of you are staying? Ashton's the new chief executive. Got any thoughts on that? And of course, anything else that you want to discuss this evening, I am all ears. So the contributors, the platform is yours. The link is now in the chat. So, Steve, Neil, welcome back. I'm going to play a little intro, Neil's little intro, because I think we need Neil to tell us how it is.
Wake up to the, wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Bring back Paul.
So true. Yeah, bring back our hero.
What's the worst we've looked all season?
Awful. There's only one person I would even consider keeping, and that's Flynn.
Yeah, possibly. Adam Melvin. Well done, lads. Man, the West Ham United history now does us all a favour and F off. Alfie Goldspink, what's going on? That's what we'd like to know as well, Alfie. You tell us. Owen, all of the hype from Nordney is brutal, not even fit. The whole team should be brought back to an abattoir, make bloody burgers for them, keep nobody. Terry English, question is 13 billion, 155 billion isn't enough for this mess? I don't know. I don't think so. Steve, what did you make of that second half before bringing in? I've got a load of people right. I've got Stephen, the fisherman. Oh, that would be fun. Fireworks coming in a second. We got Colin, the absolute goat. We got Sid, blankety blank, champion. I've got chairman on the brain. Stephen, second half. What did you make of it first and foremost?
Bollocks, in a word. That's something broken. Absolute bollocks. It was terrible. So many bad passes, so many lost balls, no urgency. The crosses, I posted out a tweet that said our crosses are less accurate than a bunch of stormtroopers because they were just all over the place. Fucking terrible. And that goal right at the end just topped it off, didn't it?
Talk to me about Paul Cook's substitutions, because they come at a funny time for me. What did you make of them today? Strange,
daft. I mean, bringing Sears on isn't really gonna help anything with that. You know, if you're looking at making progress, Sears is not the answer for that. Judge, I suppose taking him off was the right thing to do. But yeah, questionable timings for those. Yeah, I brought Jackson on earlier just to give him a bit longer. But
Neil, I don't think there's ever been a question in the history of the universe where Freddie Sears was the answer. Well, there might have been one, actually, come to think of it. What did you make of the substitutions this afternoon, Mr. Positivity?
It's difficult because we needed to change it, but at the moment he did change it, we were actually the better side. Mm-hmm. We had started playing better, and then he made subs and
Guion Edwards has just started coming to the game, arguably his best period of the game, and he got pulled off. Too many times I see, I always get the feeling, and it's just my opinion. This is my opinion, that things are done pre-game. They write things down on a bit of paper. At the 63rd minute, we're going to take off so-and-so. You know, we're going to give so-and-so 25 minutes regardless. And sometimes in football, you can't be so regimented. You've got to look at your play. And even if Edwards is, before the game, the scientists are telling you Edwards can only do an hour. If he's really starting to come into the ascendancy around that point, you say, well, we're going to hold it 5 because he's looking all right to me. My two eyes are telling me, and I'm not saying it was a predetermined thing, but too often in football, you see people or subs like that, and you think, I'm not watching the same game as you, quite clearly.
It was a strange one, because I said in the halftime show, for that first half, Guion was pretty terrible. You know, he was just losing the ball. The crosses weren't great. He made too many mistakes. And then, like you say, he started to really get into the swing of it and get into the groove. And then he's taken off, which is very strange. You'd have thought, hang on a minute, he's starting to pick up. We'll see what he can do. He might be able to do something for us before we before we do what we did.
We're right. Mike D, done with iFollow now. Ended up putting Champions. That's still going, the Champions League. I ain't watched that since it was on the ITV. I really haven't. Sergio, Cook is starting to worry me now. Just no improvement. Absolutely. I think it's right to discuss Paul Cook. 10 points, I think, from 10 games.
Has he been told to find a system and players that are actually half decent at this club? Because he seems to chop and change and mess around as if he's just trying to find some miracle formula.
I don't know what he's trying to achieve, Neil, and that's not being flippant with you. And I just don't know what he's trying to achieve. There's not a single thing you can hang your hat on that we do really well on. He arrived early March, off the back of 3 wins. We beat Hull, who many have said are the best team in the division. We beat 2 other good teams. And he said, top 2, promotion, if not top 2, the playoffs. If we don't make either of those, you'll know we would have done our best. I don't know if I'm seeing their best.
This can't be the best.
That's a question for you guys to answer in the chat and when you come on live. Adam Potter, any other job, if you underperform continuously, you get sacked. Absolute shambles. They should be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely. Potter knows his onions. Great manager. Dennis Edward, Cook needs to call these players out in the post-match interview tonight. They're stealing. He did so yesterday. Perform or you're not going to be here. And like they did under Hurst,
Maybe they already know they're not going to be here, so they don't care.
Dan Smith does make you laugh as Cook come out and said, play better or leave, so sure these players will be riding bikes home. All about the Blues. We don't have good enough players. Isn't it obvious? Stop blaming Cook. We don't have good enough players to beat or compete. Not forget beat anymore. Compete with Rochdale, AFC Wimbledon. Get played off the park by Bristol. Yeah, we beat Bristol Rovers, but for 60 minutes, we were the second best team in that game as well. Rochdale played us off the park. We were lucky to get a point out of that game, some could argue. Tonight,
Northampton
get any well. Look, these players aren't great. I've been saying this for all season, but they're better than this. Fuck me, they're better than this. Good grief. Alfie, can we stop blaming Cook? The season's a write-off. Let's just go next year. Football's not like that, though, I don't think. Fisherman, you're shaking your head.
I just can't believe some of the comments. Wow. Yeah. Where do I start with this one? First of all, okay, Cook's come in. He's got to work with what he's working with and all that. We get that and all that. And like you said, Martin, you rightly said all season, are these players good enough? You've also rightly said that, it was Lambert getting the best out of them. Maybe I'm not. I still think Lambert should have gone at Christmas. It was too late, so Cook couldn't bring in players. Is Cook the right man? We won't know until next season. But we've got to start. Cook's got to come out and say that weren't simply good enough. He's got to hang some of these players out to dry for us fans. All us fans who have watched that shower. I mean, that was worse than the Northampton game. For me, that was probably the worst game that I'd seen. But I have to say tonight, watching that absolute shower of putrid, rancid, so-called footballers stealing a living, while us fans have to sit there and watch it, and we're supposed to be happy with that. I mean, look, this stems from an Evans era. We were on a massive decline. We've been on a massive decline. I thought Rochdale would hit rock bottom. No, can we get any lower than today? Really? Can we get any lower today?
10 points from 10 games.
I'm angry at Cook for choosing Drinnan and Ward. 2 players that, quite frankly, ain't good enough to play on a Sunday league. I'm angry at the substitutions. I'm angry at the players for not putting in enough effort. Yet again, lack of effort. Holy would make a good lamppost. That's as good as he's going to get. Because there's a goalkeeper. Wow. Shit. No wonder he conceded 73 goals at Gillingham. Absolute pile of crap. No real effort to dive for the shots. Just stood there and, let's have a quick go. And that was it. Honestly, I'm just raging.
Park yourself there, Jimmy. The Fisherman is raging. Alex Gilliard, enter stage left.
No, I've shut that fan club down now. No, I get what Fisherman is with Cook, but I can't blame Cook. I still believe. No. Let me have you say it before you start pulling a face. Yeah, I still think you're right. The timing of Paul Lambert's sacking was wrong. It should have been December, and then Paul Cook could have had January. If Paul Cook could have had January, I'd be in the same boat as you. He didn't have January. Yeah. Doesn't matter whether you're Milden or under 13s manager or Pep Guardiola. You can't get these players to play. Doesn't matter what you do. They don't want to play. They know they're not going to be here. I agree with what you said. Bin them all off and play the under 18s. I'd rather that.
Oh, absolutely.
These players know they're not going to be in next season. They don't care. Bollocks to this Chambers has passion. He loves the club. He loves his paycheck. He wants to stay for his paycheck. Well, piss off. I don't want you here for your paycheck. You're old. You're crap. Fuck off. I want them all gone. All of them gone. They are useless. That was the worst game I have ever seen in the history of 45 years supporting this club. Yeah? And I'm telling you now, that was abysmal. Could we sink lower? No. Will we? If these players keep playing, yes, because they don't care. And that's the key. Bollocks to know when it's on paid charity. He knows he'll pay charity because he knows he ain't going to bloody score. It won't cost him that.
Had a guilty
Clear header
chance
on goal as well.
Yeah, got to hit the target there. Jimmy, surely it's a mutual contract between player and managers. Is the manager putting these players in the best position to succeed?
Yes. He's not.
Luke Wolfen done it right back.
Well, he's got a formation. Everyone knows he's got a formation. It's
The players don't know he's got a formation because if they do, they're fucking lost in it.
Players won't bloody play it. He started with 4-2-3-1, and then all fans going, "We've got to play two up top, or we won't score." Well, we can't fucking score. We're two up top. You know, the top of moment. He's changed his whole ethos to suit these players. Yeah, he's changed everything. I don't think he knows these players. You know, he's changed systems. He's changed ideologies. He's changed formations. He's changed players. He doesn't know what they're good at. What he needs is a summer and say, get rid of this lot. I will build from the bottom up. And then we'll
disrespect, right? We all knew. Right, Kenlock was playing some really good football and was getting us out of trouble, getting Wilson out of trouble, getting forward, putting some good crosses in, passing the ball forward. Why has he been dropped? And we got Jackson sat on the bench, and we got Drinnan who couldn't score in a brothel.
Well, you know, they're honest, valid questions.
He got him there, isn't he, Lurker?
Oh, no, they're honest, valid questions. To be honest, I'd rather play a Kenlock. But Paul Cook needs to answer them questions. Why don't Stuart Watson asking the bloody question instead of saying,
Journo's scared, aren't they?
Whoa. Hang on. There we go.
I won't care. I'll tell him that on bloody Twitter afterwards. Ask him the sodding question. Where was Kenlock?
Absolutely.
I don't mind. Board on his sodding Zimmer frame who gets breathless when he gets past the halfway line. And Kenlock, you know, well, why not bring in young Baggott or people like let's try something different.
Well, Baggott's out on loan at King's Lynn, and I believe Kenlock is injured or Wilson is injured. I lose track at this team.
If Baggott comes back to play an under-18s game, which he did, he can come back. Because
but when you have a youth loan, you're allowed to come back and play for your reserve or youth game, but you're not the senior team. That's the way I understand it. No, it's a fair point. Luke says, seriously, there's got to be a big investment this summer. We could do a 20-year-old new players in the summer. Victoria Henderson sacked a lot of them. Play on the 23s, get the season done. I'd just be happy with someone who can take a set piece. I think one of the first things Dazelle had to do when he came on was take a free kick, and typical to Dazelle, it's bounced off the first man. He can't take corners. He can't take free kicks. How he keeps getting that responsibility, I have no idea.
Oh, judges,
it's going to be wasted.
Near enough every ball that went in hit the first man. They had like 3 or 4 good crosses, boom, right on the head. You know, it's miles apart. You know, I'm sorry. You know, although I think he's great, I think what's the name? I forgot his bloody name now. Coach needs to start coaching some crossing a bit, or at least something. Do something. Okay.
All right, I've got to bring Johnny in. Johnny, you got a question? What's going on, Johnny? Johnny, we've lost you. It's not a great line. Enter and come back in again, my friend. I'll bring in Sid, blankety blank chair, a champion. What did you make of tonight, Sid?
When are people going to realise that none of these players are good enough for this team? They are fucking shocking. They're the reason that we are where we are. They can't hit a barn door between them.
It's true. It's true. Who particularly can't defend, can't attack, can't score, can't shoot, can't pass, can't do a lot of things, Neil, can they?
I said on Twitter earlier on, I prefer football under Paul Jewell.
Fucking about. That's a big claim.
It's honestly, it's that shit for me.
I will put a caveat in there. Downs did try his best, but one player out of the whole team isn't going to do a lot.
It's probably the only one I keep here.
He did try, and at the end of the day, if you try, I'm happy.
Yeah, you say that. I feel sorry for Wolfenden. He's being played out of position. He's got the long-term future ahead of him over Chambers. I don't know why Chambers is not being played at right back, where he's played all year. And you're looking to build a partnership with maybe Toto and Wolfie, or you're looking to see if there could be a partnership with Toto and Wolfie. Luke Wolfenden is not a right back. Full stop.
Yeah, well, that's a strange one as well, isn't it?
Wolfenden wasn't
why pick a player that's a centre back and stick him in a right back when you've got a right back who got a centre back who's been playing right back? All right, okay, he's it takes him an hour to get to the halfway line and half an hour to get it back. But, to be brutally honest, Wolfie is not a right back. If I find that staggering, again, I'm sorry, but, look, Paul Cook, he's got this blame, he's got this team and we can't, but I think he's got to take some of the blame. I really do. I think he has got to take some of the blame. Because he's not, we can say, the players are not good enough, and we all know they're not good enough. We can see that. We all watch the games. We all watch this eye follow. We all watch the club. We all watch the players running around like headless chickens. But Paul Cook's got to take some of this rap by saying, well, look, but with the player choices that he's playing Wolf in right back, Ward left back, just adrenaline. Really? Oh.
Mike, I love you. Appreciate you. Take out a paracetamol. Have a nice stiff drink. Johnny, welcome back, man.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I keep trying to get some headphones that work, and this plugged in and that plugged in, and everything just goes to tits here. But,
don't worry about it, man. What's going on?
No, I'm listening to all the comments, and one thing that people are not actually bringing up as a point is: do you think Paul Cook is missing his magic ingredient in Liam Richardson at Wigan?
Possibly, but there's no guarantee you will get Liam Richardson.
Everyone reckons that Lambert lost his golden touch when Culverhouse left. It's been Liam Richardson Cook all the way through, and he's been successful. It's the first time he's been separated from Liam Richardson. He's not really, and maybe Batman needs his Robin, mate.
Yeah, well, Barry from the Wigan podcast said that you'd often see Liam talking to Paul all through the game, and then a substitution would happen or something would go on, and he was alluding that he felt it was Liam that was the Culverhouse in this situation, if you like. But my question to you, Johnny, is if that's true, what do you do? Because Liam Richardson is not guaranteed to join Paul Cook in the summer. So what do you do? I think
he will. I think him coming in the summer is as certain as what the CEO joining today is. I think Cook has said that I want to get this. That's going to be Paul Cook's first signing, and I think Richardson will come. I think he may, if Wigan, they'll be lucky if they stay up, and I think his last job there will be to keep them up, and then he'll join Paul Cook. I'm hoping, because I actually think that's Cookie's missing him. I think, in regards to some of the comments on with the team tonight, I agree with Mike. Holy is just like, he's just not getting any better. He's not getting any better. I have to take my hat off to Chambers. He's doing his job at centre back, sort of. Toto is actually getting in more headers and tackles than he's actually letting through, for a change. And Downs, Toto and Downs will be the only two I would keep, and I'd replace the whole lot. I'm not saying the guys on the periphery of the squad, have not got any futures. Like the Baggetts, the Lancasters, and McGavins. I'm just saying they'll be part of this squad. But that first 11, that were out there tonight, they should really be ashamed of themselves, really, because I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny, but you get to a point where you actually start to find it funny because it's so shit.
Yeah.
And you think,
Fucking
how bad are we? How bad are we?
When you see something shocking like that, and it is shocking because we are Ipswich Town, we are accustomed to a certain pedigree as a fan, you respond by a laugh because when your body doesn't know how to deal with that sort of what you've just seen, you can't comprehend initially, can it? My team, who just been played off the park by a club that were playing Wivenhoe Town not long ago.
I don't think Paul Cook can quite believe what he's inherited either, and I think the realization has probably kicked in. And do you know what? People say, oh, he's got to take blame. He can't just be chopping and changing. Do you know what the bloke's doing? He's chopping and changing because he's actually trying to find bodies that he can actually keep. And I don't think he's found many. I don't think he's found any. I'm not going to blame him for playing all of that. If he wants to play the whole of that bloody squad between now and the end of the season, you go for it, mate. But you root out them arseholes and you kick them out.
Like there was a lot of bagging off about Wolfenden earlier on. You know, Wolfenden wasn't playing right. He was playing centre back. You know, there was a back three. You know, the fact that Edwards didn't come back to help him out, like Ward was helping Chambers out, that isn't, you know, Wolfenden's fault.
No.
Yeah, that's Edwards' fault for not doing what Ward is doing on the other side. But if you look at it, all the goals came from Ward's side. They didn't come from Wolfenden's side. You know,
no.
I saw Ward come in, the ball came in, and then he started shouting at the defenders. What you shouting at the defenders for? You let the ball come through. Stop the bloody ball. Stop shouting at other people, but you mess it up. Everyone's looking for someone else to blame. Start taking responsibility for your own job. Your job was to stop that ball coming in, just as Kiwomya said. And no one was stopping the ball coming in. They were just letting the ball come in, and then 2 goals go in, and the game's gone.
Absolutely. Johnny, I've got some feedback on your microphone. I'll run you one round, I promise you, because I want you on the show more. But I'm getting feedback. I love you, man. Look after yourself. I'll run you one round, I promise you. Steve, I love you as well. I'm going to bring somebody else in. Great points there tonight. Sid, stay there. We're going to bring some blankety blank on us in a second. No, don't worry. We're not really. Colin, the GOAT. You've seen it all up and down. What did you make of it?
Martin, how are you?
I'm livid. Well, I've just written my article and it's probably got about too many expletives for Russell Clayton's liking.
Yeah, well, the thing I'd like to start off with tonight is I've got to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I've always had hope and belief, as you know. But tonight, listening to the radio tonight, I listened to it. I didn't watch it. I listened to it. First thing I'd like to say is Brendan Boyley keeps going on about, oh, we're better. All right, okay, we might have been a bit better in the second half. Really? Losing 3-0 at a time to Wimbledon? God's sake, he's on a different planet, that man. I mean, he keeps saying it week after week. He keeps like giggling to like Chris Kiwomya about, you know, going back to AFC Wimbledon next season. If he wants to go back to AFC Wimbledon next season, I see ya, because I certainly don't. I'm probably going to. But, you know, things like that really get my goat. But the main points I'd like to make tonight is, and Martin probably knows what I'm going to say, I was so sad at half-time you wouldn't believe as a Town fan. I go back to, you know, I go back a lot. Like I say, I started going in '64, but I started thinking about when I came out of Stamford Bridge in 1975, that replay. I was with my father, God rest his soul, and I got on the coach home, and I was 18. I was at the time, and I was actually crying. I cried. I probably never thought I'd see another semi-final, which I did, obviously in 3 years' time, but I saw another one after that. But, you know, that was how low I was. But tonight, all you Town fans, I was as low as that, if not lower. But then I thought to myself, you know, the good times are probably just round the corner, Colin. You know, look at it like that. But, you know, I put a few little bits and pieces down here tonight. I don't normally do that. Martin knows that. I've put undisciplined, effortless, weak, no spirit, defeated before they even start, can't keep the ball, can't score goals, underlined, equals pathetic.
Shit.
My God, that hurts me so much to say that,
Okay,
but
all right.
it's true.
Colin, hang on. I'll bring Ben in. Ben, Colin's not happy. He's wearing it like we're all feeling it. It's fair to say he's really defeated tonight. What did you make of it before we allow Colin to go on there?
God bless you, Colin, because I'm there right with you. I need 40 seconds for this, because if I don't get it off my chest, I'm going to be an absolute nightmare to be with my poor, wonderful wife. So,
Love you, Ben. Love you, Ben.
You're a good man. That was the worst game of the worst season, of the worst selection of players at the worst point in our history that I've ever seen. And Christ alive, I'm only 36, Colin. It must hurt you so much more to see, the depths to which we've sank. We have not had. This is not as if we've had not a new manager bounce. This is not as if we've been stagnant and we've not had a manager improve us. We've actually gotten measurably worse. And we like Cook. We think he's great. I think he's the right appointment. My question is, do the players? Because that is a team of players who are not playing for their manager. I'm wondering where the influence is to these performances. I think I have a suggestion to some other powerful forces you've seen tonight on the TV, and that's already happened once in our history, and I'm really worried about that. We have 540 minutes of football left, and we've had 2 shots on goal in the last 400 minutes of football left.
Get the top bus out.
Yeah, so on form, if we were to have 3 more shots on goal before the end of the season, technically speaking, that's better form than what we're on now. And I'll tell you one thing, do not underestimate the ruthlessness of the new American owners. They don't want success. They will absolutely demand it. They've just paid tens of millions of pounds, and they are not going to sit on the fence with tough decisions. They are going to demand success. And this is what makes me worry for Cook. I hope these players do not cost a good man his job, because that's what I think is going to happen. Now, we go the next 6 games and we lose 4 or 5 of them. They're going to think we're about to give Ipswich Town, our new team, 10 million, 15 million over the next 2 years. We've got to make absolutely cast iron sure that the right man is at the helm to do it. And I don't want this group of players to put that seed of doubt into our new owner's head, because that's what I think is going to happen. So that's how I do want to leave it on a more positive note. The more positive note is tonight was the single best result of our entire season. And I'll tell you exactly why, because tonight I think the owners have seen the level invested that's needed. I think the manager now knows every single thing he needs to know about every single player in that squad, and he's done everything from support them, change the formations to suit them. He's rotated the team to give everyone a chance. He's laid the gauntlet down, and he has done everything in his power to say, look guys, don't make me get rid of you. Don't make me get rid of you. And every player on that pitch, I would say, bar probably Flynn tonight, has actually, and who is the only one I think can actually hold up the contract and say, look, renew, please. I need to be here. Every other player on that goddamn pitch tonight has given Paul Cook a reason to get rid of them. If you were to say to a group of players when Cook walked through the door, right, guys, we have to get this manager sacked. I don't care what it costs us. He needs to be out the door. That are the performances to be watching tonight. It's as if they want him to go, which really makes me question the relationship between Cook, the man we see, and Cook, the man they see, because it might be a very different thing.
Maybe he's already told them that they're not going to be here next year. Because can you realistically
if they don't
see
pull their
any
finger
of them
out?
being here?
If they don't pull their finger out, they've got minutes to prove it, and it hasn't happened.
They shouldn't have to be pulling their finger out, though.
There was a
They
comment
should be
from
doing that
Judgy.
already.
Was it last week? Alan Judgy
Oh,
said
yeah.
that Paul Cook will learn pretty quickly who he can and can't trust. I think he's learned that the past few weeks, definitely, because he knows that probably most of them he can't trust at all.
Is he rotating to give them all a chance, or is he chopping and changing because he doesn't know his best team, doesn't know the best personnel, and is trying to find a winning formula? Because a lot of times on this show, I hear people will say we've got a losing mentality. But letting a manager lose is a losing mentality.
Letting.
Letting. Whatever you want to call it. We are letting this manager lose games, by saying this
We're
season's
not.
free here.
The players
Well, we are. No, but every time we come on and say, "Oh, it's a free hit, doesn't matter, it doesn't count." Next year's one. It's not his fault. When he came in with a 7th, we're going backwards. We're getting worse. There's not a single thing now I can say we're good at. We don't even pass the ball.
We're very good at conceding.
That's the one thing we've been good at in my time supporting the club.
Yeah,
conceding.
Colin, what else on that list of yours?
Sorry?
What else on that list of yours? You made a list. What else was on the list?
Yeah, well, I just made a note of one or two things, and I had Sky on in the background tonight, so I was watching the goals as they go in, and we saw him down at Portman Road. I'll tell you, if the owners are listening, just listen to what I'm saying. David Johnson's son. I'd buy him yesterday. That boy is not just good, and I'm not just saying it because it's Dave Johnson. I'm talking about the latest Dave Johnson.
This is Brennan Johnson, right? Brennan Johnson at Lincoln. Yep.
Yeah, but it's Dave Johnson's son, and I'll tell you that boy scored two, well, not worldies, but two very, very good goals tonight, and also a decent goal. He got a hattie tonight. That lad is unbelievable at this level, and I'll tell you, if we've got this amount of money coming in, obviously your main thing is a striker. But I think he plays just off the striker, or perhaps he does play up top. I'm not quite sure, but oh my God, Paul Cook, if you're listening to this,
I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of that, Colin. You're absolutely right to kind of focus on, who is our next crop of players going to be. But I tell you what,
they've got to be quality, Ben. They've got to be quality, Ben.
They have, but when all the dust has settled, I tell you this, tonight is going to be a blessing. You won't see it now, and we sure as hell ain't going to see it tomorrow morning when we wake up and watch I think the greatest highlight for me was watch Paul Cook chuck his coffee up before the game as if he was kind of pre-cognitively looking at, he just looked into the future. But I think tonight's important. I think we needed tonight. I think Paul Cook needed tonight, and I think the owners needed tonight. Because if your objective is, I need to know what I'm working with, and I need to know where we need to improve. Tonight encapsulates our whole season. He said tonight was is going to be definitive. Tonight is representative of our whole season. Well, by Christ, was it? So for that real reason, to put the spotlight on exactly what is wrong, I think tonight will end up being the most important game of the season, even though we have every reason to think it won't be. Tonight needed to happen, and it hurts. But you've got to rip the plaster off sometimes, because he's going to go back, and I feel sorry for that man, that poor bloody bloke, Cook.
Sorry for him.
I question his substitutions, which I think are very worrying. I do question the fact that we've gone backwards. But I suppose if the two arguments I'm leaning more onto the side is, you can race a Ford Fiesta against a Lotus Esprit, and it doesn't matter if you're the best driver in the world. A 1.2 engine's only going to take you so quick, So I just think we can only judge him next season, and I'm critical of him. Those subs are weird. He actually took off the one man who was actually having a good game, and that actually quite shocked me and it quite worried me. But I think at this point he's probably as exasperated as probably we all are. And that frightens me, and I think it should frighten a lot of people, because he's being looked at now, and he's being looked at by people that are absolutely fucking ruthless for success.
Absolutely. Stay right there, Ben and Colin. Mark, welcome in. Callie, I'll bring you in a second. I know you're going to be bringing some fiery points about Paul Cook. Mark, what did you make of Ben's comments, Colin's comments tonight as a whole? What did you make there?
Thanks, lads. I agree with Ben. He was saying a lot of things about, I do think that he's probably given them all a fair trial over the last couple of weeks. I always say I don't know what they're doing in training, because clearly what they're doing in training, they don't produce it back into the pitch again. I certainly wouldn't keep any of them after tonight's performance. I honestly think a lot of them have been told already that, sorry, but you're not coming back next week. Or you're not coming back next year.
Great point. Love that.
I really do. I believe they're being told. I think the likes of Alan Judge, alluded to what he said, that the Paul Cook will realise who's going to fight the corners and who's going to fight. And there's a few lads who are willing to fight, but I think obviously we need 11 fellas who are going to fight. We don't have 11 fellas who are going to fight. it's a joke. I jokingly commented about Norwood saying we should change the commentary, and I said we should change it to canned laughter for the next game. Because it was funny to watch in a horrible way. You don't know what to say really.
No, and isn't that the issue there? There's nothing that you can definitively hang your hat on. No young player coming through, no partnerships being made, no partnership even being sought. Like if you look today, up and down the 11, where were you looking and thinking, well, maybe Paul Cook's looking for that next season? He's bringing Harrop into midfield. He won't be here next season. He's got Chambers next to Enciala. If that's your back two next season, I don't know.
Well, here's the really interesting question based off that, Martin. What if you're Paul Cook right now and you're in that coach on the way back from London? You've got is it 6 games now? Yeah. 6 games. So you've got 540 minutes of football. What do you do? Do you make the ultimate statement of intent? Bin 9 of the first team players and bring on the under 23s and keep the ones you want to do? What do you do as a manager? Because he's tried everything. What needs to happen now is probably outside of his powers. He's Paul Cook. He's not Pep Guardiola. He's not fantastic. He's just good and a pretty decent record. What do you do? 6 games. What's the plan now? If that was you, that was your team.
Right.
Ben, you know what? Kids in. I think what will happen, unfortunately, won't be able to do it because we're still mathematically can make the playoffs, and until we
it's a curse. It's a curse.
I think that's always been the way, and I think it'll be from the new owners down. They'll be hoping. I know it'll be a miracle if they get there, but it's still mathematically. I found it not funny, but we still have to play Wimbledon again in a few weeks' time. Are we going to overturn the 3-0 deficit? I just can't see it.
Win 6-3.
Absolutely. Sid, I love you. Sid, you're an absolute legend. Look after yourself and bring Callie in though, because Callie, you got some Paul Cook comments, no doubt.
Callie, man.
And as the guys here have got the Paul Cook sort of bandwagon out, what are you saying to him?
Yeah, I'm hurting, man. I'm fucking hurting after that.
Painful.
I was the glass half full type of person, thinking any moment now. This is why I don't gamble.
Always.
This is why I don't gamble, because I'll be on the blackjack table like, next hand, right? Next thing you know, I'm in debt, and that's what I was feeling. I was like, anytime now we're gonna get a run. Anytime now, it's done now. It's hurting, man. And then on the Cook thing, it's like, listen, I'm backing Paul Cook. I'm saying I'm backing him, but excuse my French, we can't just be dick riding him and just rose tinted glasses because he's Paul Cook, right? Paul Lambert got wins out of this team. I'm all for Paul Lambert going. He should have gone. I agree with the guys earlier that he should have gone earlier in the season. But Paul Cook ain't getting the same thing that other managers managed to get out of this group of lads. All this tippy-tappy football, passing it. I said it before. We're fucking hoofball team. Let's go back to basics. Let's try and do that.
How did the Cowies do tonight?
They drew, didn't they?
They drew in the end. I thought they won. Did they draw in the end? I thought they were winning.
No. I saw it at half time, so I don't know.
I'll have a look. Taryn, talk about yourselves.
But no, it's and I'm not here saying look, we need to get Cook out like I said, but I'm saying we need to expect something because the man almost sold. He sold us a dream, and like we all wanted it, but he sold us a bit of a dream, saying automatics, playoffs. If not, it's not for fault of trying or some shit like that, right? Ain't no one trying on that pitch. Tell me, so shall we, like, okay,
I think the players have already down tools, haven't they?
But it's just fucking bullshit because I'm like, then is he just using this season as an experiment, like we're saying, like Ben was saying earlier, and a few guys said earlier, in terms of the different formations, seeing who he can keep, seeing what he can build next year. Is he playing an experiment with our season, with the end of the season? Because he still had a third of the season or something like that coming into it. So it's like we should be fighting to gone up, and it just seems that everyone else was, we got told that we're fighting to go up. There's been no fight since he's come here. Like there's been 43 minutes of football where we played decent at Portsmouth. That was it. Even when we beat Plymouth, it was shit. Even at Bristol, it was shit. Right? Tell me where there's been any improvement in our team.
I can't think of any game where I said it earlier, I think to Martin, I can't remember any game where we've played 90 minutes and as soon as the final whistle we've got, you think we've earned that, we've deserved that. For 90 minutes, we worked hard and played good football. I can't remember it. You get the odd sort of 10 minutes, 20 minutes where you think, yeah, that was all right. And then it just goes.
And that's my point. That's my point. You've not got that. And even on the land, but you had glimpses of something that could be. We're not scoring goals, not creating chances. I just wonder if is his message, Mark, is the manager's voice and message of what he's trying to tell these group of men getting through, or would you say?
I just don't think they understand it. No, I've been saying it now for weeks. I think they're a broken team. Just individually, I think they'll go off. They'll go off and they'll all get new jobs. They'll all resurrect their careers. But I think collectively, I just don't see it happening. I mean, there's no way that we're going to improve with this current selection of players we have in the next 6 games. It's just not going to happen. Yes, we might fluke a win. You might see an odd player or two change. I mean, I couldn't believe that Thomas Holy, he actually dived tonight, fell off a great save, and 2 seconds later he pretended to be a statue once again. So and I just
apparently Cook has sort of laid into the players on Radio Suffolk. I'm not yet to have any comments, but that might be something you will check out after the show. So yeah, that was needed, and he's done the press tick, and it was needed. And let's see what he said. He's had to say. We'll all probably check that out at some point. Mike Brown, credit to Cook. He slated the players without naming them. Well, Dan Smith, I suppose it was Dan Smith yesterday. Worse than 2 or 3 ago, it was confirmed we were relegated.
What do the players do, though, Martin? The players will just shrug their shoulders. Unfortunately, these players are going to be remembered, all right. And I don't think they realise how much they're going to be remembered, because when we all remember the John Walks and the Matty Hollands of the day, in years to come, when people ask, and we all in the pub and we're laughing about this current crop, do you remember X, Y, and Z was absolutely rubbish? And we'll be saying that, and they're going to be remembered for the wrong reasons of being in League Bloody One. Losing against a team who were only invented a couple of bloody years ago.
Gov, could I just say something, please?
Of course you can.
Carrying on from what the gentleman just said, I don't know what these players are made of. I don't know what their makeup is. He's absolutely right. I'll tell you, these players are going to be remembered. I can remember the John Duncan era, and you've got to remember that was in the 2nd division of the Football League, the 2nd division of the Championship. Okay, and I don't know what we was that season, 9th or 10th or something like that. But the football weren't brilliant, but we was in a decent level of football, and it wasn't that bad a squad, to be perfectly honest with you. But these players are in the 3rd division as such, and can't mix it with Rochdale, Wimbledon, Swindon at home.
Yeah, these are not here, Colin. These are not teams that are
they're going to be remembered as arguably one of the worst squads stroke teams in our history. What on earth is the matter with them?
They're just not good enough. They're not good enough, Colin, and it's gutless. This manager can't get anything out of them for whatever reason.
Just play hoofball. Get a fucking goal. Get a goal. I don't want fucking 3 points. Get a fucking goal. Hoof that fucker as far as possible and get a goal. Sorry, Colin.
I don't know how they can actually look at themselves in the mirror in the morning. I don't know how they can do it.
So what easier to do with £3 grand in your account every week?
How much they spend on season tickets and travel and everything. I honestly do not know how they can look at themselves in the mirror in the morning. I just don't know how they can do it. Oh dear, oh dear.
There's no fight anywhere.
Words fail me.
No fight at all.
No. And every time you think you've hit the bottom, this bunch of players, they say, "Hold my beer." Hold my beer, and they've let me down. And trust me, I don't forget.
I've got to shoot off now, man. I've got a chicken that's burnt in the oven. But thank you for the therapy.
We're close. Oh, sorry, Ben. Yeah, it's fine. We're closing up now. It is because we're just going to start crying into our pints, really, aren't we?
Who would have thought Northampton 0-0 wouldn't have been our worst game of the season?
Well, it's like, do you remember the old Top Gear episodes where Jeremy Clarkson used to say, "How hard can it be?" and then it would always go absolutely wrong. It's like when Ipswich Town fans, we say, "It can't get any worse." You know damn well it is going to get worse. It can't get worse than 0-0 with Northampton. And then
the good thing is, guys, we are mathematically safe from relegation. So we won't go down. So leave one,
that's
please.
put my mind at ease. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's something we seem to do, though, isn't it? We end up getting mathematically safe or have a really good start to the season, and then from that point, it's like, oh well, we're good now. Let's be the worst football team in the league.
We can only perform for 15 games of a season, and we seem to do it all at the same time. And it's like, right, okay, no more left.
We're just an absolute shite shower. We're just a shambles, and it's embarrassing how this football club has got to the point it's got to. Like, you can, and I don't understand how this bunch of players can play a mid-table season, and then when the manager changes, go into what is free fall, and it's relegation form. And if he was coming in to save our season, the same way Lambert had, we'd have a fucking great big R next to our name by now, and you'd be saying completely different story. I don't know if I give this guy 70p, let alone 70 million, let alone 10 million. I don't know. I honestly, there are question marks for me about, can this man get his message across to a group of players? Because ultimately, that's what management's about: getting your message across to a locker room. He's not doing it with this bunch. Is he going to do it with any bunch at this club? I don't know.
But he has done it with other bunches, hasn't he? He has done it with other bunches.
So did Paul Jewell, so did Roy Keane, so did Mick McCarthy, so did Paul Hurst. This club's littered with managers.
Maybe it's the curse. The curse.
I'm just saying, how many games has he done now? 10 or 11, isn't it? Right around that.
That was 10.
How many did we give Hurst?
15.
15.
Yeah, 1 draw, 7 win. No, sorry, 1 win, 7 draws, and 7 losses.
The difference was with Hurst and his assistant, they basically completely fell out with all the players and the club.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm not suggesting, like I said, I'm backing Paul Cook. What I'm saying is we need to start asking questions. I want a goal. I'm not even asking for a win. Knowing us, we'll beat Charlton next week and we'll continue to lose the rest of the games.
The irritating thing is, like right now, obviously we've got these new American owners in that, like someone said earlier, they don't want the success, they demand that success, and they need that success quickly. You'd have thought that would have spurred these players on, because I think right now we've got the potential to be part of something huge. You know, we could go up to Championship, whatever may be in the coming seasons. Yet there's still no urgency. It's like maybe they have been told already they're not going to be here next year, like we touched on earlier. But you'd have thought with this sort of potential now at the club, it would give them an incentive to at least play for their own careers, if not for the club, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I think it's ridiculous to even consider getting rid of Cook at this stage, can we actually risk him getting his players in next season and being just as bad as this season?
Well, at least he'll have a couple of transfer windows next year. If it's gone pear-shaped at Christmas time, he'll be gone, and hopefully the money men will come in. Maybe they could buy a new 11 if need be.
I can't see his transfer being as bad as Paul Hurst's.
No.
Yep, Colin, go for it.
I'll tell you one thing, Gov, that I thought about earlier. We're 2-0 down at Wimbledon, and I saw it on Sky. So I've seen the tackle. We're 2-0 down against Wimbledon after about 25, 26 minutes. After 28 minutes, like Harrop goes in like a bloody headless chicken, right? And oh my God, what's that all about? I mean, straight red card.
Discipline.
I'll tell you, if I was Cook, and I'm serious now, if I was Cook, I'd have him in the office tomorrow. I'd have him in his office tomorrow on his own, shut the door, and I'd say, see you, mate, you're back at Preston. Because I'd tell you, there's no way in the world I'd keep him after tonight.
Well,
he's through as bad and as awful as they all are. He's kind of through all the other 10 players, or call it 10 players plus the subs. He's through 14 to 15 players under the bus, in my opinion, tonight. You know, it's 2-0 with 11 players. Got one back before half time. At least you've got half a chance of getting a point.
I'm going to go live tomorrow.
But I mean,
Colin, I'll tell you what,
that was ridiculous. Really,
it was ridiculous. It was, but I feel we need to give this Paul Cook interview a listen, because a lot of people in the chat are saying you'll feel differently. It's a really blistering interview, blah blah blah. So I'm going to go live tomorrow. It might be half an hour, might be 15 minutes, might be an hour. We're going to have a listen to this interview. Let the feelings and thoughts sort of die down, and then we'll see how you feel tomorrow. Because I think this apparently this Radio Suffolk interview will change how you feel, and maybe it is as most blistering as we're going to hear it. I don't know, but right now we're all hurting. The football club's going nowhere, and maybe the interview with Paul Cook is what we need to hear and what we need to be. And
we need to hear him being critical. Was it a couple of years ago when was it a cup loss with Lambert, and he said you're never going to see certain players in a Town shirt again, and that was quite refreshing to hear because they'd played like crap and got away with it. So we need to hear it from Cook as well.
If he has been as critical as some people are suggesting, though, I wonder what the new owners will think of their manager coming out and totally criticising everyone. You know, everything is it's usually kept indoors, isn't it, in the dressing room? And
but sometimes, listen, like we said, he's said everything else. He's got to be protected the players. I think someone said there in the comments he's done well without actually naming them. So we've still done it with a bit of dignity and respect for his players as well. So I don't know. Let's listen to it. What did you say it was on?
Radio Suffolk. It's on Radio Suffolk. So seek it out on the iFollow, on the iPlay. But I guess, that's kind of where we are. But we're done. We're dusted. It's a bitter taste, I know. It really is. Go on, Neil, very quickly finish off.
As far as the thing with Harrop diving in, the whole of leading up to that point, he never actually stood off a man or jockeyed with him. He dived in, and he never actually properly made a tackle that whole first half.
I don't remember seeing it. Apparently it's also on the Ipswich Town Facebook page. But we are done. We are dusted. Let's think on it. Let's listen to that Paul Cook interview. I don't want anyone saying something they might regret rather. Callie, you're munching away. I love it.
Smokers, mate. I've got some.
We're done. We're dusted. Callie, Mark, Colin, Neil, Steve, thank you all for joining me. To those in the chat, thank you all for joining me. And until tomorrow. Until tomorrow. With love, with care. What a shit night.
Take care, Carl.